Hey, thanks for making the time. We got the white on white today. It's like we planned this or something. This is
Yeah,
good.
dude. We look good.
I know, man. We're rocking it. Listen, man, I gotta tell you, I've been having one major struggle today, bro, and that's been, and I interview a lot of artists, and you can go back. I don't just say this to everybody. I've been trying to get your music out of my head, man, because listening to it for this past week, it is the listenability is just off the charts. It is so catchy. So before we start, I just wanted to say congratulations on the new tracks, man. Like you guys are seriously killing it right now.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to finally release some music. It's really nice. So it's really good to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah. So talk to me about sort of the process and maybe for people who don't know, how long has it exactly been for the group since you guys have been back with something new?
I think it's been like 4 years. So we had pretty big success with a song called Highway, like back in like 2018 or something. So yeah, it's been 4 or 5 years since we released anything, and and now we've released like 3 or 4 songs already. We got a new record June 28th. This Friday, which is weird to
Yeah.
say. So yeah, it's nuts. It feels good.
So maybe talk about the sort of hiatus that you guys had. I know a lot of artists, it's COVID had a lot to do with it. Was this something sort of related to the shutdowns, or was this a different sort of situation for Bleeker?
Yeah, we had like a whole record done right before COVID happened. We had a tour like booked and everything too. We were going out with a band called AWOL Nation. Like you remember like Sail and stuff,
Oh yeah.
and the beaches and something else. Anyway, we had like a whole American tour booked, and then that got canceled, and then the record got put on hold, and then it never really started back up again. And then all that music kind of like just felt stale, and then and then we finally got a new record label, new management, and we just from there we've just been releasing stuff.
What's sort of the shelf life for a song in your opinion? And I mean, I would imagine it varies for from track to track, but is it a situation where like 2 years later the song sounds stale? Is it 2 months later? Like how long do you guys sort of have something in the can before you say, let's do something else?
Uh, like I don't know. There's some songs that like stick around. Like for like we just released a song called "Let's Go," and it's been around for like 7 years. And we had
Yeah.
sent it to multiple record labels and management and this and that and A&R people and these gatekeepers. And they never wanted to release it, but we always loved it. So that one stuck around. It's good to have them stick around, because like when you're writing new music, it's always like the newest song you write you think is your best song you've ever written, and it's
Right.
usually not the case. So, I mean, you have to give it a little bit of breath on it. But yeah, it didn't like the last record didn't still feel stale to us. I think it felt stale to the label that wanted to release it, and then they just wanted new stuff, and we were kind of spinning our wheels for a while.
I mean, obviously, that's got to be such a huge part of the creative process. I mean, would you say that that is the main key to an artist's success is having that label behind you? Because, like you say, you can have all the right material, but if the wheels aren't spinning with the label, it's kind of hard to get anywhere.
Yeah, like right now, like we're going to try to do like an album a year. So like
Nice.
this weekend, we've been writing for the next record, and to know that it's going to get released and people are going to hear it is like it makes all the difference. So like when we write something that we love, it's like, oh my god, can't wait to show people, and like just knowing that that's going to happen changes the whole dynamic, changes the whole feeling. It's huge.
Absolutely. In terms of you guys' presence online and stuff, how much of that is sort of label oriented or sort of orchestrated by the label, and how much of that is organic from you guys? Like, do they have a big hand in what you guys do outside of the music, or is it sort of your
Uh,
choice?
it's sort of our choice. Like our manager helps us a lot because he's really good at that stuff, and he's like does some editing, some videos and things. He's done our music videos. I'm terrible at social media. Like I'm just the worst. I don't know. I can't get a grip on it. I've tried. Like the fact that I got on this Zoom without anybody's help today is a huge deal for me. It's usually
Well,
my
we're glad
brother
you
like
did.
standing. Yeah, it's usually like my brother, like our drummer Chris, standing beside me, like just figuring it out. But like this last tour, we brought a guy, Andy, and he took pictures and posted for us and like just took care of all that because he's watching the behind the scenes stuff. So like I don't know, like we're in it and we never really think about it. So it's good to have like a guy do that.
For sure. I mean, it's kind of hard to live and hold the camera at the same time. I mean, I feel like this is a topic that's been discussed a lot with artists, but is it a situation where as the social media presence has to be increased for artists to be noticed, is that a situation that bothers you as a creative, or is it something like, look, this is just part of the job and we just have to adapt?
Yeah, I think it's more like it's part of the job. We have to adapt. I mean, I do wish that I liked it more.
Right.
And I'm sure for like the artists that do like it, they probably love it, you know? So, and I love seeing other stuff people create and seeing like all that kind of stuff. So I just, like, I go on vacation and I come home and I have no photos on my phone. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm
Living
that kind of
life.
guy. Yeah. It's always been like that. So, I mean, I like the stuff that like we have somebody making some stuff for us right now, and I love seeing it, and I think it is fun, but I just don't do it. I wish I did.
Fair enough. So, how about speaking on the tour that you guys just embarked on? Maybe if you could talk about, all the different stops and what it was like connecting with your fans on this run.
Yeah, we did like Montreal, Ottawa, Windsor, St. Catharines. Where else? Anyway, but like it's cool because we've been touring for a pretty long time, and to see like faces that we haven't seen in like 10 years, and it's just
Yeah.
crazy. It's like holy, and like to thanking them for coming out and staying with us and stuff. So it was really interesting to see everybody and to like see all these old spots that we used to play as well, because we haven't done that kind of tour in a while. So, and there's I don't know, there's a lot of good cities out there. You forget that they're all there. I just usually
Yeah.
stay in Aurelia. I'm not out somewhere else.
Okay. Are you guys based out of Aurelia originally, or was it Kitchener?
Always Aurelia, and our
Okay.
drummer's from Regina, Saskatchewan.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
Okay.
like my brother lives kind of like a couple blocks that way. My bass player lives a couple blocks that way.
Interesting. So, I mean, maybe speak on that. I mean, having, the family connection as well as that local tie that you guys all have. Because, I speak to a lot of groups and, they're 2, 3 hours away from each other and they find it hard to make it work. It must be a lot easier when you guys have that, connection.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like I don't know. That's why we're still kind of together. I think it's like if they're not over here making music, they're just over here hanging out as well. You know, like
Yeah.
and I mean, brother, but yeah, none of us take ourselves too seriously. We all just kind of just like through the pandemic and stuff when nothing was going on, we were just still jamming and still writing music. And if we, if you told us like today that like the radio would never play us again, we'd never get another show, we'd never do anything, we'd still just be writing music and playing music. It's all kind of a byproduct of just us hanging out. Which is I think, I mean, the most organic, and hopefully a lot of bands feel that way.
Yeah. I mean, is that how it started for Bleeker? Were you guys always just sort of jamming and hanging out and it turned into this? Or was it like, we want to actually make this our lives and our careers?
It started out like Cole and I got like I got a guitar and he started playing drums like we got for Christmas when we were like 12, and we immediately just started writing original songs. And then that was like, okay, we can do this. Like we're gonna try to, like be a band, be a band, be a band, and have that as our job, which is very stressful. And like like all your friends start going off to university and you're still like, like trying to play shows and scrape by and making no money and getting nowhere. And but like little increments, like little things start to happen that kind of keep you in it and keep you going.
Hmm.
And then now the vibe is totally not that. It's more just like and I think it helped us that we got put on the back burner for a while. It's like we're just writing what we want to write now, and if something good happens, it happens. And uh we're seeing what that might be like the secret to some of our songs doing well lately is just like not really caring, and it's kind of nice. It's really good.
What was the first sort of step where, after you figured out, okay, we can write songs, we know how to do this, and, then you go through that period of uncertainty. What was the first sort of light at the end of the tunnel where you said, okay, this might actually work?
We were doing like so many showcases. So you like, I don't know if you ever been to a music showcase before,
I
but
haven't
there's like
been, but I'm familiar somewhat.
usually they're super duper terrible. Usually it's
Okay.
like at like 2 p.m. and you're in some bar you've never been in, and there's six people there, and they're all staring at you, watching you play because they're the label and they're the people and they're like the
Wow.
just try not to mess up. And you do so many of these, and they're so shitty. And one worked. We went to we flew down to New York. I think New York. Anyway, one worked. So we got signed to a label called Roadrunner Records.
Nice.
And then they flew us down to Los Angeles, and we did this record, and it was called Small Town Dead, and that song went like #1 in Canada and stuff. And that was like the first time we're like, whoa, this is crazy. That was definitely our first biggest milestone. But up until there was a lot of playing in really small, dingy places, like Wednesday night from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. and then trying to get to school the next day. Like it was crazy. Looking back, it was crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, this always fascinates me because before it actually starts to work, when you have that dedication, it can almost seem, like you said, to the people going off to university, it could seem almost like blind dedication, like this might not work. I mean, what sort of internal dialogue is going on when you know that you can make this happen, but the rest of the world is not reflecting that? Like, how do you keep yourself motivated through that?
Yeah, it's super hard and super weird. I think that's where like my brother and my brother and Mike came in too, because like even though it was hard and it was still second guessing, and they were still always there, and we were all still just having fun doing it. And like if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have continued to do it. So, but yeah, like it's weird. It's weird in the moment of it too, but now that we're kind of a bit more grown up, it's a lot more freeing. Feels a lot better.
Yeah.
There's a lot less stress, and we're all kind of established and grown ups, which is the total difference.
Absolutely. You lose some of that angst, I would imagine, about the whole situation, right? You get to sort of settle into it.
Oh yeah, yeah. And like you said, like when all your friends are off at school and they're all doing something, and it's just like you're just like, what the hell am I doing? Like, how is this ever going to work? But in our case, there's always some little thing that would happen that would also just keep it like that little light, it's like, oh yeah, we got that little thing, this little thing, this little thing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
it's
like
been
when you
wild.
need it the most, it pops up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we started like, I think we probably first did our first like writing stuff in like 2003. So it's been
Wow.
over 20 years.
That's insane. Speaking on some of the latest success, fast forwarding up until now, you guys have been featured in the NHL 2024 playoff season soundtrack, which is
Yeah.
obviously huge. Maybe if you could speak on sort of the electricity going on here in Canada with the Oilers. I don't know if you're a hockey guy at all, but what's sort of been your reaction to that and all the buzz going on?
Well, I'm becoming a hockey guy because of this.
Right.
So yeah,
Same here.
it's wild. Uh, like I heard like we might have a song like playing on one of the games, like in one of the games, whenever like a penalty would happen or something. But then my phone was going off. All my friends are like, "Dude, you just got like a full feature on the front of this. I didn't even see it."
Wow.
So like, because I'm not watching the game, and it's like a maybe thing. But anyway, like yeah, all my friends are starting to respect me a bit more, which is really nice. It's pretty cool. They're all hockey fans. And our drummer is a huge hockey fan, so it's a big deal for him. And just, I don't know, it feels really good. It feels really good. And they started playing it like in the States on those broadcasts and stuff. And
That's huge.
it's a really weird feeling. So I'd just be at my friends, they'll have the hockey game on, and they'll be like, hey, your song's on. Like, awesome.
So now you're definitely a hockey guy or getting there.
Yeah. I'm definitely becoming a hockey guy. I'm an NFL guy. I'm a football guy,
Okay,
but
cool.
I need to get in the NHL.
It's so fascinating to me how Canada sort of revolves around hockey with all of its other entertainment culture because, I see the music scene getting a big boost from this. I see the content scene and what I do. All of a sudden, everybody's out doing street interviews and things like that. It is a fascinating thing. Do you feel like that's a good push for the country and for us overall?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I don't know, it's good to be part of something, man. Like and having the crossover of music, like music and sports is like absolutely perfect. Sports always blows
Yeah.
my mind because like they can like fill those stadiums, like especially say like I know we're talking about NHL, but like even the NFL, like week after week after week, those thousands and thousands of people, like
Yeah.
and to be able to use some of that audience and get your music in there is just like it's a perfect pairing. So I hope we can do more with them, you know. But yeah,
Would you
go NHL, go Oilers.
Yeah, would you say that, like, as an Ontario guy, do you think that there's a lot of people rallying behind? Because that's what I'm in Edmonton currently for the next couple of weeks, and it seems like a
Oh,
lot of
nice.
people are wondering, is the country rallying behind us, or is there sort of a division of cities? And I'd be curious to hear your sort of thoughts on that.
Well, everyone around me is rallying around Edmonton. But
There
like
you
I've
go.
heard some like stuff like some weird. I don't know if this is true, but like the CBC wasn't broadcasting the games or something like that,
Okay.
which is super weird. So that would be a not rally around it. But yeah, all my friends like we were watching the game the other night, and none of us are Edmonton fans. So
I saw the Calgary Tower. They had their tower lit up with the Edmonton Oilers colors, but it was just a coincidence because it was for a different cause, and they had to put out a statement saying we're not rallying behind Edmonton, even though we love them. So I thought that was
what?
hilarious. I know.
Uh, I feel like our Edmonton and Calgary like they're probably like that because they're so close together. Yeah.
Neck and neck, man. It's funny, but I
Yeah.
mean, like, I got love for both cities. I think again that if we hold each other up, I think it's better for everybody.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I always joked around about being the Florida Panthers because I never watched hockey, and Florida Panthers were always the worst team ever. So I used to just cheer for them. So it's funny. So now my friends are like, "Oh, are you still cheering for the Panthers?" Like, no, I'm cheering for Edmonton.
Now he's cheered for Edmonton. We could
Yeah,
respect it.
yeah.
So speaking on the upcoming record, obviously messed up. Sort of maybe if you could speak on bringing some of those other tracks, like you said, the tracks that you already had recorded onto this record, and while making this new original material, maybe if you could speak on placing it, like how did you know that these songs would place well on this new project?
Like we did have like an overflow of songs. I think there's 11 songs on the record. We probably had like 20, and like they were just the ones that we kept wanting to hear. And also, I always find it good to send my friends that don't usually like our music for whatever reason. I just send them it, and whatever they usually like is like okay. And you can see like if I send 10 songs out to 10 friends, I'll just say pick your top four, and it's usually the top four are always kind of the same. So it's good because sometimes like as like we obviously put music that we want on the record, but to have an outside an outside person listening is super important as well. Like I said before, like the newest song we write is always the best song apparently that we've ever written, and we're obsessed with it,
Right.
right?
According to you guys, at least.
According to us, that's always the best song. Like we're always getting better for what it's ridiculous. But yeah, so that's kind of how we did that. Or like my wife will hear it, or like Chris's friends, our drummer's friends, or you know. So that's kind of how we picked the songs. And it was nice, like with this new label and management, like they were kind of like, yeah, that sounds good. Like these are all great. So they were super chill about it. And then, yeah. And we just did it. We recorded like all of it. It's so funny to listen to Let's Go, like when it's on the NHL or something, because we just recorded it in my like garage studio.
Really?
So
Wow.
yeah, it's great. Like it's so fun. Like I can just walk out the door and we can just start recording. It's so perfect. That's what I love about like nowadays. Like instead of going to the studio or spending all this
Yeah.
money going flying somewhere doing this, it's like I can just Mike can walk over and we can have a song. It's nuts.
So is that how you guys did the rest of the project as well?
Yeah, yeah. We just did it in my
Amazing.
garage. Yeah, like
Wow,
Chris.
man.
Chris lives in Toronto. He just drive up and we just like Chris pretty much produced, mixed the whole thing. It's all just in house. It was all pretty much for free. And like that's what I mean. Like being able to like knowing that we can write and release this stuff and be able to do it so quick and keep the ball rolling and keep music coming out is huge. It's makes everything a lot different.
Wow. I mean, so did you guys have experience recording in other studios before this quite a bit then?
Yeah, like my brother picked up a lot of stuff like along the way. And
Okay.
Chris has been doing this for a long time too. That's kind of all he does. So like we've always, I mean, like we do have to, you have to buy the gear, like some certain, like, you know, you have to have this certain type of computer, you have to have the gear and stuff. So like that's already built in over the years. We've just been collecting stuff. So I mean, yeah, like they're really good at it. I'm not good at it. I'm terrible at it. But I
Well,
guess I don't need to.
that's why we call somebody in though, man, you know?
I don't do social media. I don't do any of the technical stuff, but I'll just yell into a microphone for an hour at a time.
You're the music guy, you know what I mean? So how about bringing in Brian Moncars in on this as well? Obviously, you know, having worked on production for Our Lady Peace, Alice Cooper. This is big stuff. What was sort of the collab like with him and obviously having Chris in the band and producing, I would imagine made that sort of a unique experience as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because Brian brings something awesome that like every time we hang out with Brian a lot. We did a first record, one of our first records four with him like 10 years ago. So like he would come up to Aurelia too, just hang out. We did some drums in Toronto. Usually like we do the drums in like a big studio for like a day. Chris is really good. So that's the most expensive part is like getting the drums down. And he's such a diva. He won't do the drums in a bad room. He's got to have his room, you
I
know.
was gonna
So
say, what's the sticking point with the drums? Is it because it really changes that sound if it's in a garage per se?
that's what they say. But I mean, I don't know. You can the way you mix it and stuff. I'm the wrong guy to be talking to because if they spend more than like 5 minutes on a snare sound, I'm like, guys, it's just no one's listening to the snare. Like, dude, just like let's we could whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, we did it in a nice Toronto studio. So it's good to feel professional like that for a second and then come back to the garage and just do it in there.
That's so cool. And I mean, like you said, you're already writing for the next project. What sorts of tracks, like how many tracks are you in for the next project?
We're like four in, and they're not done. Like they're like have half vocals. Like I don't know what the melodies are yet. So probably like after this, I'll probably go out and just try to make up some stuff. So because we did a bunch of them really really quick. So usually there's a pretty solid idea, but these ones just which is really fun is just like a track that I can just start to sing over and stuff. So I'll just sit in my chair in front of the computer and sing them, and then they'll probably be like the keepers. They'll probably be on the next record. So
And you
that's
guys
the
usually,
weird part.
and you, sorry to cut you off, but you guys usually have like 20 tracks, you said, or 25, and then you sort of narrow it down from there, right?
Yeah, we have like 10 good ones and 10 bad ones usually. You know, it's like it's especially when you're like we haven't done this in a while, but like trying to have a deadline to try to write a certain amount of songs to
Yeah.
have like a release is going to be an interesting process because usually we have like all the time in the world. So like I've just gone through like all my voice notes on my phone. Like there's thousands of voice notes of just me like waking up in the night being like, delete that one, delete this one, delete this one. So just
Is it
going
hard
through
to
some of
keep
the stuff.
track? Like, how do you remember which, you know, because if you're just humming a track, like I would imagine it gets hard to remember exactly what those thoughts were. Let's say you're just waking up, you're just about to go to bed. How do you like keep track of all these different ideas?
I don't. That's the worst part
You
because I'm
don't.
so crappy. Yeah, I should be labeling them or something. But what am I going to call them? Like dude to do, you know?
Yeah, do to
But
do
like,
32.
yeah, and like some of them are just like incoherent. Like I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember. Like, but I don't know. Or I'll be in the shower. A lot of it happens in the shower. I guess it's when you're not thinking about anything else. You just start doing something like that. But yeah, we're not good at like sitting down and forcing songs out. That's why I don't
Hmm.
like doing like those like songwriter like going like songwriting with other people is fun, but it's also like that's why you're there. So it's like this is what we're doing, and usually it doesn't turn out very well. But
Yeah, so you can't sit down and say I want to write a song about this topic and then sort of force it out because I've you know I feel like that doesn't work for a lot of different artists. You just have to go
yeah,
with what you're feeling.
it's never worked. Yeah, it just goes like usually there'll be like a chorus melody or something, and then it'll be in my head, and then Cole will put music around it, and like that's kind of how the song gets formed. Or there'll
Nice.
be like Cole had this like big riff or something, and like what I'm about to do today is like I'll just go over and just try to not ruin his riff with my vocal. You know what I mean? Like
Saying this
because
in
that
the
sucks
good
too.
zone.
Yeah, like when Cole writes something so good and then I just come up with something so bad. But you know,
How do you
I
know
we
when one of your ideas is bad? Because I know a lot of artists who think every idea they have is good.
I know it's bad immediately.
Hmm.
Like I like because it just feels forced and it feels like and if I never want to hear it again, like if Cole turns it on, if I'm not excited to show Cole or Chris or Mike, and I'm like, yeah, here it is, and like you can just feel it, and
Hmm.
see their faces go, yeah, it's good, but and it's like, yeah, I know, that's how I feel too. but some are just no-brainers. Like our song "Walkin'" was a no-brainer. It was just like we randomly recorded it, like just like live off the floor, and I just did a ghost vocal, just like a crap vocal over top of it,
Right.
and that was pretty much what it ended up being. Some songs are so easy and so natural to do, and those are the ones that are gonna make it. So yeah, forcing them out never works. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
guess in the same sense that you can feel something is right, you can sort of without it, you can't explain why something feels right. I guess you can't explain why it feels wrong, but it's just you have to trust that feeling, right?
Yeah, you definitely have to trust the feeling. It's like, I don't know. I started like painting and stuff too. And if I
Oh,
was
cool.
forced to be like, go paint now in the next 3 hours and come up with something good, it'd be like, that's not how it works. It just doesn't work like that. I
It's a
wish it did.
losing battle. Yeah,
It's
it'd be a
also,
lot easier if it did.
yeah, that'd be really sweet. I mean, some people make a really good living like writing songs like that. So yeah, we just get flukes. That's
Hey,
what we
man.
do.
I love
Like,
that though. You got
you
to
know,
keep it natural.
yeah. And you got to remember too, like when you're writing with people, like, and we all feel this way, is like, yeah, I might quote like Matt Damon or something right here, but like, don't, don't, you know, look at all the bad ideas that the person had. Just focus on the good one that they had. You have 10 really bad ideas. I'll have 20 really bad ideas and then one really good one. You just got to be open enough to share with everyone because you never know. Bad idea turns into a good idea pretty quick, and somebody else, here's something else.
That's a really good point. I think all the artists who watch this channel will definitely take a lot from the advice that you've given here. The new record from Bleeker is going to be dropping on June 28th. It's called Messed Up. And for everybody who wants to check it out, we have all the links down below in the description. Go connect with Bleeker. Tell them you saw them on the show. And Taylor, thanks so much for your time, man. I really appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was really fun.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much. Take care.